court, the first ever of the College of Medicine. Round of applause. This is Dr. Ritualo, MD. He's the first ever. And I want everyone to please bear in mind both the medicine students, criminology students, College of Law students. This legal medicine moot court represents the intersection. You know, in life, even in our health systems, there's always an intersection, right? All the, like the what do you call it, circulatory system, with the endocrine system, they're all connected. The same with the intersection of science, that's medicine, law, and ethics, the science of medicine, the science of criminology, law, and ethics. It is a space where truth is scrutinized. I think in forensic one, what is the subject of criminology where we do these things? Criminalistics. Oh, ito. Wow, I should, you know.
Law focuses on justice and order, aims to maintain social order, resolve dispute, and uphold justice. We have a legal framework. Legal principles are based on statutes, case law, and constitutional provisions. It is an adversarial system. The legal system is adversarial with opposing parties representing cases in an impartial judge or jury. The rule of law applies equally to all individuals, and everyone is subject to these provisions. Finally, there is a precedent and stare decisis. Legal decisions are guided by the present and the principle of stare decisis and the decisions. So, what are the differences between law and medicine? Objectives: medicine on healthcare and well-being, law, justice, and order. Methodologies: medicine is scientific method, whereas law is based on a legal framework and precedent. The approach: medicine is patient-centered, while law is adversarial. Knowledge-based medicine is continuously evolving, whereas legal knowledge is based on established laws and precedents. Decision-making in medical rights is often made collaboratively, whereas in legal decisions are typically made by a judge or jury. So there is a clash. There is a clash in there that needs to be addressed. And I think we are not even prepared for this. Some of the doctors who testify in court probably won't make it out because they lack. And I would like to dedicate this mock card report to Dr. Benny Campo, the guy on my left side, because we were raising your hand. Actually, we are both paid. Dr. Napoleon Matias and Dr. Benedicto Campo were both professors in the college. He used to be the head of the legal department. And I hope that you will get something out of this case, because there are twists and fears, and later on they will give you the link for you to vote guilty or not guilty. So everybody here is the jury. And once the court is in session, the Honorable Judge Sacela, has the power to remove anyone from you guys and send you out. This whole court becomes, this whole Calanco Hall becomes, and they will close the doors. So thank you, good morning, and I hope you learned something from today.
First part, there is a pre-selection of the participants. The representative, which were considered by the groups to be the brightest and most confident in their group. So they were pre-selected by the group, after that, the selected representatives from the group, they were screened by the panel of our legal professionals. From there, the legal professionals chose 2 representatives for the 2 main groups of class, the prosecution and the defense. They will present themselves as expert witness and be asked questions pertinent to case for litigation. The class should listen to the proceedings and take note of the different arguments being presented by the prosecution and the defense. The verdict later will be decided by the grand jury, all faculty and students in attendance. As to whether the accused are guilty as charged or innocent as argued by the defense. For the trial proceedings, jury selection, the jury shall compose of the students in attendance, chosen students in attendance, who will vote via electronic link to determine the verdict. So all of us, including the faculty, the guests, and the students, will be the jury. We will vote later via electronic link to be shown on the PowerPoint. Now, prosecution's case, the prosecution shall present an expert witness to play as a forensic pathologist, to present evidence from a post-mortem examination beyond reasonable doubt. For the defense case, the defense should present an expert witness to rebut the findings in order to create a reasonable doubt. There will be closing arguments later for both sides to present closing arguments to the grand jury prior to votation. The jury, all of you, should do the deliberation by voting via electronic link, and the results will be collected later to come to the verdict for this case. So again, the mock court will be presided by the three lawyers who will serve as the judge, the prosecutor, and the defense counsel. Points will be given based on how participants act appropriately in courtroom setting. So that will depend on how they will encourage you, influence you to vote guilty or not, depending on how they present their argument. Okay? So the total grades of the group in this mock hearing is equivalent to 20% of the final grades in the group.
Well, good morning. So, our case, we have a WD, 41-year-old, South African, Negroid, medium build, 1.7 meter height, an IT specialist, assigned for computer services for UN mission in Liberia. This is the police report. This is from the Republic of Liberia under the authorization of the SRSG, or the Senior Representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations Mission in Liberia. So the victim was last seen with two individuals of Chinese ethnicity. The Chinese suspects had recently arrived in the country with a little working knowledge of English, so an interpreter was requested. According to the suspects, they were befriended by the victim through initial cordial smiles, and they agreed to have a few drinks at a nearby bar. After a few social drinks, the victim invited the suspects to the housing quarters of the victim where they shared a few more drinks. Neighbors of the victim heard shouting and verbally aggressive tone from the victim, which were responded by the other voices. Victim was found dead on his bed. The laptop of the victim was missing. After investigations were conducted, the laptop of the victim was found in the possession of the two Chinese nationals. Through an interpreter, the Chinese suspects alleged that the victim assaulted them when they demanded additional payment for their sexual services rendered. Refusing to pay, the victim attempted to physically assault the suspects. The suspects got hold of a kitchen knife in the household and used it to stab the victim in multiple areas. Since they were not paid, they took possession of the laptop as payment and left. The knife was allegedly disposed in a nearby river and was never found. The UN report, the UN staff provided information that the victim's laptop contained highly classified data regarding UN personnel, which is a high-value item for espionage gains. This is contrary to the claims of the suspects. This report is submitted to the Solicitor General as national information pertaining to any legal processing that may arise from this incident.
All rise. The Honorable Judge presided the court presiding over the Honorable Court of Liberia is now in session.
Please call the case, Ms. Bailey.
Something Wong and Malaysia versus Republic of Liberia, case number JFK-FL-014.
Good morning, Your Honor. I am Attorney Ronald Barbosa, and I represent the defense for the two accused.
Are the accused present today?
Yes, they are, Your Honor. They are around.
Can you please introduce the accused?
The accused can speak for themselves. Could you please?
Good morning. I'm Wong Song-Ting. Chinese. China.
As you see, Your Honor, because the accused are both Chinese citizens, and they are now standing trial for the crime of espionage.
Noted. The prosecution ready to present its witness?
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. At this point, we are calling our expert witness to the witness stand, Dr. Amen.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God.
At this point, I will just ask the witness for his personal circumstances before he proceeds. Dr. Ahmed, what are your personal circumstances?
I'm Dr. Latiba Ahmed, and I'm a board-certified forensic pathologist. I have earned my medical degree from University of Philippines, College of Medicine, and then I applied for a residency.
Just your name, your age,
I'm 56 years.
marital status, and your occupation.
I'm 56 years old and I'm married happily.
If I may proceed.
Yes, please make your offer.
The testimony of this witness is being offered to prove her qualifications as an expert specifically in the field of forensic pathology, including her medical education, her work experience, and her teachings, and the articles that she has published as such an expert. She will also testify that she is the current assigned forensic pathologist who conducted the autopsy on the body of WD, and will testify on the conduct of the said autopsy and the results of her examination to prove essentially the material allegations of the accusations against the accused.
Any comments from the defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. Subject to cross. So far, no comment as to the offer.
Before we proceed, I would just like to advise the witness to listen very well to the questions being asked. Wait for the prosecution to finish the question before you answer, and your answer should be responsive to the questions.
Okay, madam.
For the prosecution, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Dr. Amin, what is your formal education?
I have a bachelor's degree in medical science, and I did a bachelor's in science from St. Thomas University in Manila.
So, your undergraduate, what is your undergraduate degree?
It's a bachelor's of science in biology.
And where did you obtain that degree? Where did you obtain that degree?
St. Thomas University,
And what was your major field of study?
biology.
And which medical school did you attend?
I attended University of Philippines College of Medicine.
And what degree did you obtain? You obtained the degree of medicine?
Yeah, MD Medicine.
And when did you obtain that degree?
I obtained my degree in 1980.
And what did you do after you graduated from medical school?
After graduating from the medical school, I applied for a residency at Philippines Heart Center in Anatomy and Clinical Pathology.
And how long was your internship?
The residency was 4 years.
And what did you do after your internship?
The internship was already a part of the medical school, and the residency was a 4-year course. After which I applied for a fellowship program at Philippines Heart Center.
What is a residency?
A residency is a specific field that you choose after the medicine. MD Medicine is a broad course where you are taught every field, whereas a residency is a specific subset that you choose finally.
And what was the specialty that you chose in your residency?
Anatomical and clinical pathology.
And how long was the residency again?
4 years.
And so when did that residency end?
My residency ended in 1989.
And what did you do after your residency ended?
I applied for a fellowship program in forensic medicine. And after completing that fellowship program for 1 year, I practiced a little bit, that is for 1 year, and got my license as a certified forensic pathologist.
When did you obtain your license?
1991.
And what did you do after you obtained your license?
I applied for a job at NBI, where I am currently holding the position of the chief forensic pathologist.
And how long have you been employed in that
I've been employed.
agency?
I've been employed there for more than 20 years now.
And what were your regular duties and functions in that employment?
My chief duties are to perform autopsy and gather evidences on how the crime was committed and determine the manner and the type of death.
And in your approximation, how many autopsies have you conducted?
I've done approximately 1,000 autopsies till date.
Now, apart from your regular job as a forensic pathologist, what do you do as part of your practice of medicine?
Apart from my practice of medicine, I also teach at Philippines Heart Center as well as the Philippines University, the College of Medicine.
And how long have you taught there?
I have taught there for more than 10 years now.
And what courses do you teach there?
I typically teach the upper 3 levels of pathology and also the medical legal aspects of pathology.
Apart from your regular job and your teaching job,
What else do you spend your professional time on?
Apart from my practice of medicine, I also teach at Philippines Heart Center as well as the Philippines University in the College of Medicine.
And how long have you taught there?
I have taught there for more than 10 years now.
And what courses do you teach there?
I typically teach the upper 3 levels of pathology and also the medical legal aspects of pathology.
Apart from your regular job and your teaching job, what else do you spend your professional time on?
Most of my time, more than 80% of the time is spent in teaching and the labs. So most of the time that is free I spend with my family and some activities.
What professional organizations do you belong to?
I am a part of Philippines Pathologist Association as well as I am also a part of Philippines Integrated Bar that sets me as a candidate for expert witness. I am also a part of Philippines Association of Forensic Medicine.
And how did you become a member of these organizations?
You need to have a 5-year working experience and a 10-year experience is much more better than a 5-year one.
Now, coming back to your present status, where are you currently employed again?
I'm currently employed at NBI as the Chief Forensic Pathologist.
And what are your regular duties and functions as Chief Forensic Pathologist in that agency?
As a Chief Forensic Pathologist, my duties are to initially take the handover of the body from the police and then do the autopsy on the patient to analyze the wounds and the manner and the type of the death.
How often have you testified in court regarding the autopsy that you conducted?
I have testified for more than 200 times for now.
And in those times that you were asked to testify, how many times have you been qualified as a witness?
Most of the time.
And what do you normally testify on?
I normally testify on the manner of the death or the type of the death. Was it a homicide or was it an incidental death? These kinds of stuff.
And where were you on September 18, 2009?
I was working in my lab and collaborating with my peers to gather some of the evidences of a previous pathology we had done, and I was just collaborating that.
And what happened during that day?
During that day, I was handed over the possession of the body of Mr. W. as a Negroid male, 176 centimeter in height and 75 kg, and I was asked to perform an autopsy on the victim.
What is the regular procedure for conducting an autopsy?
For taking an autopsy, we first do the external examination, wherein we isolate all the wounds and all the markings on the body. We take photographic evidences of them as well as a sketch is also made to enumerate the exact position of the wound. Then we also notice for the signs of rigor mortis or liver mortis in the patient. Then we move on to the internal examination where we use a standardized incision to open the body. We dissect it and we examine the organs initially in the in situ state, that is inside the body, to analyze the wound tracings. Then we individually take out the organs and we weigh them, we measure them and analyze them for any markings or deformities or any incisions on the organs. Then we also collect the fluid samples from the body, that is blood, and tissue culture is also taken out and sent to the lab for further evaluation of toxicology or histopathology. Then a compiled report analyzing all the findings is made and it is presented in form of an autopsy that can be used in a medical legal conditions.
In the case of the body of WD, this is the regular procedure that was conducted on
Yeah, we followed the regular procedure, that is the Whitbread's procedure, where we isolated each organ separately and studied them.
Now, what were your major findings in connection with the autopsy of the body OWT?
The body that we received had 26 stab wounds on his body. Initially we found there were defensive marks on the hands of the victim. There were many fatal injuries on the body, starting with the neck areas. The wound number 3 that we have seen is a very fatal wound that initially destroyed the cricoid cartilage as well as the vessels associated there. But on internal exam...
Can you speak a little slower?
Okay.
Speak faster.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes. So, for the wound 3, we found on internal examination that the cricothyroid cartilage was totally severed and both the internal carotid artery were totally severed. The internal carotids are very important, and as they were transected completely of both the sides, the person might have lost the consciousness within 2 to 5 minutes. Additionally, there were wounds on the chest and the abdomen which were very severe, and they punctured the lungs causing massive hemothorax, and the abdomen wounds also caused the evisceration of the intestine, that is the prolapse of intestine outside of the body.
Now, is it correct to say that there are minor wounds and major wounds or fatal wounds which you found on the body? Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct. All right. Let us go first to the minor wounds. Earlier, you testified that as part of the autopsy procedure that you took photographs of the body. Do you have those photographs today?
Yes.
In connection with your earlier testimony that you found first minor wounds on the body, where are those photographs?
They are also present in my autopsy report.
Please, Dr. Your Honors, we manifest that the photographs to be shown to be a common evidence for the prosecution and for the defense. So we may also play that later on, Your Honor.
Slowly.
Could you indicate or show to the court, to the jury, the minor injuries which were part of your finding?
The minor injuries that we noted were in the hands of the victim. As you can see here, the wound number 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21. They were on the interphalangeal joints of the victim. This showed the markings of defense. They are typical example of a defense wound. Then similar wounds were found on the right hand as well. The 24, 25 till 26, the wounds were consistent. They were all of same width, that is 0.5 centimeter, but they varied in length.
All right. Now, Dr. Ahmed, what in your opinion do these wounds signify?
These wounds are very typical of a defense, like the victim was trying to defend the attack. When he was being attacked, he probably grabbed the knife, and that caused the development of these wounds.
All right. Dr. Ahmed, what in your opinion was the implement used which caused these defensive wounds?
The instrument.
Or the implement used which caused the defensive wounds?
I'm not understanding your question.
Dr. Ahmed, what in your opinion was the weapon or implement or instrument which was used which caused the defensive wounds?
The instrument that was used was a single-edged knife, but the instrument was not found on the scene, and the same instrument was used elsewhere in the body also.
Now, apart from these other wounds, were there other minor wounds?
Yeah, we found...
I noticed that you are saying yeah. I advise you to address your counsel as counsel or sir, rather than yeah. And also, as we initially told, just answer the question asked
and no additional statements. Earlier, you said that the weapon was a knife, but you also made a statement that the weapon was not found, which was not asked of you. So please refrain from making such answers.
Okay,
Let's go back to my question. Apart from the defensive wounds on the hands that you found, were there other minor wounds which was found on the body of the WD?
I object, Your Honor, on the question regarding the repeated mention of defensive wounds because there was such no statement from the witness. So counsel is seemingly testifying here. So can I request the Honorable Court to caution counsel not to use the word defensive wounds?
If I might just comment. Actually, the witness on earlier direct has already mentioned when asked of her opinion on the kind of wounds has already said that these are defensive wounds. So I am actually these are already facts which have already been testified to the witness. This is just a follow-on question to my earlier to the earlier answer.
I withdraw your objections.
Please proceed. No. If I may repeat the question, apart from the wounds which were found on the hands of the victim, were there other minor wounds which were found on the body of WD?
Yes, sir.
And what were these wounds?
These wounds were located on the left lateral aspect of the thigh of the victim. The wound number 13 to 16. They were mostly superficial wounds. They showed that there were signs of struggle from the victim's side in order to get free from the attack. They were superficial and mostly located to the upper part of the thigh and the patella region.
Now, apart from these two wounds that you mentioned, were there other minor wounds which were found in the body of the WD?
Yes, sir. We found some superficial wounds on the neck region that are wound number 1, 2, and 4. They are superficial wounds and are mostly located in the mandible area of the patient. It might be because they were trying to hold him down to inflict a fatal wound. They are superficial in nature and have transected some minor arteries like facial arteries and some underlying fascia and muscles.
Right. Now, apart from these three wounds that you just mentioned or testified to, were there other minor wounds found on the body of the victim?
No, sir. Mostly the other wounds were of very fatal nature.
Okay. Now, earlier, you testified that there was a fatal wound. Could you point to us in which part of the body was the fatal wound found?
There are actually 6 fatal wounds on the body. The first fatal wound can be visualized on the neck region of the victim. That is wound number 3. It is a 7 into 1 centimeter wound with smooth elliptical borders. It was a deep wound as it transected the internal carotids of both the internal carotids of the patient, and it also transected the trachea as well as the cricothyroid cartilage, which would have led to airway compromise and a massive hemorrhage because there would be no supply to oxygen to the brain and the patient would have become unconscious.
Dr. Ahmed, what in your opinion was the instrument which caused the fatal?
By determining the depth as well as the shape and the consistency of the wound, we concluded that it was a single-edged knife stabbed in a right to left motion.
And this single-edged knife, which in your opinion was the instrument which caused this wound, this is consistent with a kitchen knife?
Yes, sir.
Now, earlier you mentioned that there were several fatal wounds. Where, apart from the first wound that you testified to, where are the other fatal wounds located?
The other two fatal wounds of the thorax are the fifth and the sixth wound on the either side of the xiphoid process. The first one is at the xiphoid intersection, which penetrated very deep. It was 4 into 2 centimeter from the outside, and internal examination showed that it was a 16 centimeter deep wound, which has passed through the pleural cavity, destroying the middle lobe of the left lung, as well as it also transected a significant portion of the diaphragm. The other wound, that is the wound number 6, also entered the pleural cavity and destroyed the lateral lobe as well as the posterior lobe of the left lung. And that's it. And these two wounds combine majorly for a rapid buildup of hemothorax in the patient, because the associated vessels, the pulmonary vessels, would have get transected and led to a massive hemorrhage and hemothorax to build up. On internal examination, we found that there was 700 ml hemothorax collected in both the lungs.
Dr. Ahmed, because you have a jury, in layman's terms, why did these two wounds cause the death of
I object, Your Honor. We had no place for a layman's term with regards to the testimony of the witness. She is being brought here to testify as an expert, not a layman.
Now, all right, let me rephrase the question then.
Thank you, Your Honor.
In more simpler terms, why did the wounds number 6 and 7, 6 and 7?
Yes.
6 and 7, why did you consider wounds number 6 and 7 to be fatal wounds?
These two wounds are very deep.
I object again before you answer. The witness testified that the fatal wounds were wound number 5 and wound number 6. There was no such mention of 6 and 7.
Let me rephrase it.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Ahmed, why, in more simpler terms, why did you consider, in your opinion, wounds numbers 5 and 6 as fatal wounds?
Sir, the wound number 5 and 6 were very deep wound. The fifth one was 16 centimeter deep, and it destroyed a significant portion of lung, causing a respiratory failure, as well as it destroyed a significant part of diaphragm also. The wound number 6 also penetrated very deep, 14 centimeter to be exact, and it also destroyed a significant portion of the lung and the diaphragm. These all led to respiratory failure, as well as the buildup of blood that I was mentioning as hemothorax in the lung, which can compromise the breathing of the patient and lead to death.
Now, in your earlier testimony, you identified also other fatal wounds. Apart from those that you've already testified to, in which parts of the body can you find the other fatal wounds that you mentioned earlier?
2 additional fatal wounds were also found on the abdomen, that are the wound number 10 and 12, that are fairly located at the level of umbilicus. These wounds are fatal because they cause the evisceration, or in simple words, it's the prolapse of the intestine out of the body's cavity. They cause internal organ damage, as well as the mesenteric vessels were severely injured, which aided to the rapid blood loss and hemorrhagic shock.
Now, apart from these wounds that you've already identified, were there other fatal wounds found in the body?
The other fatal wounds were not very fatal, but they were significant to cause enough bleeding to let a person die.
Now, let's go back to the wound on the neck.
The
So which wound is that?
wound number 3.
Wound number 3. Dr. Ahmed, what in your opinion is the position of the assailant when he inflicted wound number 3? Dr. Ahmed, what in your opinion is the position of the assailant when he inflicted wound number 3?
On analyzing the pattern of the wound and by judging by the intensity and the depth of the wound, we could analyze that the assailant might be standing directly in front or slightly towards the right side of the victim.
I hope to strike your case. The witness is not testifying based on her opinion, but rather on abstract narration of fact which she is incompetent to testify on. As I said, maybe.
Actually, the witness is presented and has been qualified as an expert witness. So the prosecution can actually ask hypothetical questions and ask of the witness to make inferences based on her own experience regarding, in this case, the position of the assailant, the type of instrument which was used, and the cause of death.
Yes. The witness being presented to testify on her opinion, but as to the fact of the position of the alleged assailants who are the accused here, she is incompetent to render her opinion on the position.
Actually, the witness is not testifying as to the fact of the actual position. She is only testifying as to her inferences regarding the possible position of the assailant in connection with the wound that she found on the victim.
Yes, I understand. I reiterate my objection that she is incompetent to testify as to inferences regarding the physical position of the accused, of the assailant.
I beg to disagree. As an expert witness, who has already testified as to the fact that she has conducted numerous autopsies and testified in court, she is certainly qualified to make inferences regarding the position of the assailant in relation to the wounds which were inflicted.
Yes, as to the wounds and the instrument and the weapon, we had no objection on that. As to the positioning, I think she is incompetent to testify. And we submit, Your Honor.
We submit.
The court rules that the objection is overruled. We believe that being an expert, she has as much leeway to make her opinion insofar as the findings her findings are made. So we will allow the witness to make her answers.
If I may continue. Now, just a few more questions. Now, as to the minor wounds which were inflicted on the victim, Dr. Ahmed, would you have an opinion as to the position of the assailant in connection with the victim, how these wounds were inflicted?
For the minor wounds on the hand and the defensive wounds that I said, they were probably created when the assailant was trying to attack the victim from the front, because they were angled at an angle that the victim was trying to protect in a manner like this. So, mostly, and by inferencing and analyzing all the wounds, I concluded that the victim was mostly in front of the, assailant was mostly at all times in front of the victim when he was inflicting the major as well as the minor wounds.
What about the wounds inflicted on the torso of the body of the victim? What was the relative position? In your opinion, what was the relative position of the assailant and the victim when these wounds were inflicted?
As for the wounds on the leg, the relative position cannot be determined because they are just wounds that signify the struggle of the victim to get out of that assault. So they might be from the right side, but the position of that wounds cannot be justified by the evidence for right now.
Alright. Now, Dr. Amin, would you have an opinion on whether the wounds were inflicted by a single assailant or multiple assailants?
Judging from the pattern, the consistency and the width of the patient, I can surely confirm that they were created by a single weapon, that is a single-edged knife. But it is for the court of law to determine the number of assailants. It is not my expertise to get.
Do I get it clear that the witness is saying that she cannot determine the number of the assailants? Do I hear it right, Attorney Mendoza?
The testimony speaks for itself. That is
I think that is what the witness said.
that is what the witness said.
That she can only say that there is a single weapon, but as to the number of assailants, she cannot.
Thank you, Your Honor, for the clarity.
Now, going back to your earlier testimony, you said that you can infer, or in your opinion, you can make an inference that there was a single weapon which was used to inflict all of the wounds which you found in the body. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in your opinion, how long was, what kind of implement was it?
It was a single-edged knife.
And what is the length of this knife? In your opinion, what is the length of this knife?
We calculated the depth and the sizes of the wound. And the depth, the maximum depth we got was 16 and 14. So basing the length, a rough estimate would be 16 to 18 centimeter in length. And for the width, the maximum wound size we got was 4.5. So it would be in the range of 3 to 4 centimeters because the skin is also elastic. So sometimes the wound tends to contract also.
And in your opinion, and in your experience as a forensic pathologist, the kind of knife that you describe now is consistent with a regular kitchen knife?
Yeah,
yes.
Yes, sir, the regular kitchen knife. As it was mentioned in the report also that they said they used a regular kitchen knife. So most probably it was a regular kitchen knife, or it could also have been an assault knife, because the wounds are very consistent and already targeted to the vital organs of the patient, showing that the assailants were trained or they had experience in that sense of killing.
That is all for this witness.
Your Honor, please, we are ready for the cross.
Yes, please proceed for the cross-examination.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Madam Witness.
Good morning, sir.
Now, you have testified lengthily on the basis of the diagram that was shown. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you would also agree with me that the body, the body of the alleged victim was autopsied by yourself.
Yes, sir.
But I heard you say we. So who are you referring to as we?
So when the autopsy is done, there is not a single person involved. For the accuracy of an autopsy, there is an assistant pathologist with me as well as a medical intern assisting me, because the body is a huge aspect, so we need multiple hands to dissect the body.
Thank you. So all in all, how many are you, along with you, in your autopsy team inside the room?
We were 4 people, sir.
4.
Myself and my assistant, as well as an intern assisting me, and another intern who was duly noting all the findings that were being recorded.
Thank you, Madam. Are those assistants, which you said 2, a licensed physicians?
Yes, sir. My assistant is a licensed practicing forensic pathologist.
Okay. How about the other 2? You said interns. Are they licensed physicians?
They are just medical interns who are in their fellowship, so they are training under me.
Thank you. Madam Witness, In your diagram, you presented to the court a fact, like the date of death, which is September 6, 2009, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And 12 days thereafter, your team conducted the autopsy on September 18th, to be exact.
Yes, sir.
So, did you notice a unusual event when the body was autopsied by your team 12 days after?
So the body was very well preserved and kept according to the forensic protocols. The body was also handed to us in strict protocols and it was intact. There were no transferring injuries or anything related to the transfer of the body seen on the victim's body. The wounds that were there were only because of the assault and there was no tampering with the body.
Okay, no tampering with the body. That's fine. By the way, I'm just curious about your participation in that particular autopsy on September 18, 2009.
Who commissioned you, Madam Witness?
Sir,
Who ordered you and who hired you to conduct the autopsy?
Sir, I am the head pathologist in the NBI and it is my intrinsic role to autopsy any body that arrives to me by default.
Thank you. Do I understand that upon learning of the body of the alleged victim, you volunteered or presented yourself to conduct the autopsy?
Yes, Your Honor. It's my duty as a head pathologist.
So, on a voluntary basis, you made the autopsy despite the fact that there was no order from the court, from the prosecutor, or from the relatives of the victim. Am I correct?
No, sir. By default, the body that arrives at the NBI autopsy lab is sanctioned by the court to be autopsied by the forensic pathologist head.
Oh, I see. Now, you're changing your answer, Madam Lucas. By the way, can you show us a copy of any commission or deputation or order for the NBI to conduct an autopsy in writing?
So there was a handover document that was given to me from the court of law. I can provide you with that.
Thank you. I am satisfied with that answer. Now, you have conducted, as you said, 1,000 autopsies already in your career. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you experienced similar incidents like the 26 stab wounds in those 1,000 autopsies that you conducted?
Yes, sir. I specialize in homicide and sharp and blunt force trauma. So I have witnessed more than 500 cases in wounds like that, where vital organs are deliberately targeted, and such injuries are very common of a premeditated homicidal attack.
Thank you, Madam Witness. Were there in the past, in your experience, more than 26 stab wounds, as you said, as you have testified a while ago?
Yes, sir. There was a case that I had witnessed where the victim had 50 stab wounds. It was a case of aggression. I don't remember the details because it was quite a long time back. But they had 50 deep stab wounds and it was intended to kill. That's it, how much I remember, because it was a fairly old case.
Thank you. Now, you also made mention about two kinds of wounds, major and minor wounds. Am I correct?
I mentioned about the fatal and the non-fatal wounds.
Okay, fatal and the non-fatal. Now, do you know, per document, what was the direct and proximate or direct cause of death of the victim?
By analyzing the whole body, we concluded that the primary cause of death was asphyxia, that is failure to breathe or less oxygen is reaching the organs of the body, and hemorrhage because of massive bleeding.
So you are classifying the cause of death into two, am I correct, Madam Witness?
This is a whole one related phenomena, asphyxia with hemorrhagic shock.
Okay. Hemorrhagic shock
Yes,
caused by loss of blood.
loss of blood, and because of the wound 3, the airway was also compromised, which caused the asphyxia.
Well, would you explain to the Honorable Court how, in your opinion, could you opine that the death was caused by asphyxia? Am I correct?
Yes,
After the body was autopsied by your team 12 days after.
so when we autopsy the body, the bone number 3 has a significant laceration on the trachea and the cricothyroid cartilage. As we are well aware that this is the windpipe and this is responsible for the transfer of air from the outside environment to the body and the other vital organs. This
You mentioned about, thank you, Madam Witness. You mentioned about, and you even showed your finger or your hand in the neck. What wound is that?
bone 3.
Wound number 3.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Witness. Now, you have found that wound number 3 was one among the major wounds that causes death.
Yes, sir.
So all the rest are insignificant to cause a death.
No, sir. All of them are a bunch of, they all combine to one big picture. They are parts of one big picture. Like the wound number 3 was the wound that would have caused the unconsciousness of the patient.
Thank you. Now, you mentioned a while ago, Madam Witness, about unalleged suffocation. Did I hear you right? Suffocation.
So suffocation is different from asphyxia. Suffocation is deliberately stopping the flow of oxygen. There is no damage to the windpipe or the internal structures of that.
Thank you, Madam Witness. Are you saying, or telling the Honorable Court that there was no suffocation?
There is asphyxia, that is because of the airway collapse, because of the external wound that caused the damage on the trachea.
Thank you, Madam Witness. That would be all you heard.
Very good. Dr. Amir, when a person dies, there are several categories of causes of death, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, natural, suicide, and even undetermined. Is it correct to say that when the cause of death is a violent death, it is essentially incumbent on your agency?
Objection not covered by the cross, Your Honor.
Actually, conditional admissibility subject to connection. In connection with the question of the earlier question on cross, as to her duty to carry out an autopsy without a specific order.
Please proceed.
As I said, depending on the cause of death, if it is a violent death, is it not incumbent on your agency to carry out an autopsy when the body is referred to you?
Yes, sir.
Without a specific directive from the court or the agent or the law enforcement agencies.
Yes, sir.
And when the body of WD came to your agency, was there a preliminary finding that the cause of death was violent?
No, sir, there was no as such mention of the preliminary findings in the police report.
Alright, but why did you carry out then the autopsy on this particular body?
The body was referred to us because of the violent nature of the case. So we autopsied and found out the cause of death, exact cause of death.
So the body was referred to you by law enforcement agency for autopsy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any recross?
Just a few reports, Your Honor, please. One witness, you were asked during the direct regarding the fact that violent deaths are submitted to your office for autopsy. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Question: who brought and how many of them brought the body to your office?
The body was brought in the ambulance in a strictly controlled environment. There were 2 police officers accompanying the body, as well as there were 2 assistants who were handling the body. The police officer gave us a formal handover paper where we needed to tag the body. There were 2 tags on the body, one of which was from the forensic department of ours that we took over the body, and the first tag was already there when the police took the possession of the body.
Thank you, Madam Witness. Did you not happen to ask these 2 police officers who brought the body as to why did you bring this dead body to our office?
So, as you can see that the body is of a Negroid male and 2 different ethnicities like a Negroid body as well as the Chinese are involved in this case. So, this makes it an international case.
Okay.
So, NBI needs to intervene in such cases.
You were saying about 2 Chinese nationals. Now, of course, you don't have any personal knowledge on their identities. Am I correct?
No, sir.
But were you not told by the 2 police officers that those 2 Chinese nationals were suspected of robbing a laptop from the victim?
Yes, sir. Along with the body, we are also handed over the police report to show what exactly happened, what the assailant testimonies were.
Okay, so you affirm that those suspects were also suspected of robbing the victim, specifically the laptop.
Yes, sir.
Now, did you not ask further from the police officers why was the laptop involved in the robbing incident?
So it's not my position to ask them about this kinds of question. My role is strictly to provide an autopsy of the internal
Okay,
findings.
thank you, ma'am. But were you not told by the police officers considering that they brought the body and instructed you to have an autopsy and told you about the missing laptop?
We will object at this point.
Withdrawn, Your Honor.
The recross is beyond the scope.
Withdrawn. That will be all, Your Honor, please, for this witness.
Questions from the board? Ms. Witness, in your analysis of the body which was brought to you, did you take into consideration the height of the accused, the 2 accused, in relation to the victim, the location of the wounds, the kind of wounds? Was this part of your analysis?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what was your finding?
So, Your Honor, we inferred that the assailants would be of same height in the range of 170 to 180 centimeter, or they could be shorter even, but not very short. The physical profile that we...
Can you repeat the height? 170?
The victim's height was 167.
167. Okay.
167
The victim is 167.
centimeter. So they would be either a little bit taller than him or of the same height.
Okay. And also, was there any consideration made when you made your analysis as to whether the wounds on the victim were inflicted by a left-handed or right-handed person?
So we analyzed each and every wound completely, and we found it very consistent in the manner of a right-handed attack. The natural line, the arc of natural right-handed attack was very consistently visible throughout the wounds in the body.
Okay. Any further questions?
No more questions from the prosecution.
No more, Your Honor. I think the prosecution has already done with the presentation. Are you still presenting another or any witnesses?
This witness is our last witness, Your Honor. So for purposes of this court, we have formally offered on our citizens in connection with this case. And the prosecution will be, we are ready for the defense evidence.
Thank you. Your Honor, please.
By the way, other witness may step down. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I ask for a 1-minute recess?
Granted.
2 minutes recess. Thank you, Your Honor.